Awesome, man. Okay, I'm going to bring the big man up. Let's just jump into it. Yeah. Let's give this man a round of applause. Thank you. Do you want to put it on here? Can do, yeah. I'll hold it. Okay. I'll hold it, it's fine. Yeah. So I've not actually written anything down, but Magnus has asked me to do a little bit of speaking about my story, where I've come from and where I'm at now. So I grew up in a lot of sports. As you guys can see, I'm a big fella. I've done a lot of boxing and I got into mixed martial arts, so I am labelled a cage fighter, which again brings the label a very tough, strong man. Little did people know that my world came crashing down after a panic attack on an aeroplane, which shrunk myself down to being stuck in my bedroom, shaking, scared, petrified. And that's where it was. No one really knew. I was ashamed to tell people because I've got this stigma behind being a big lad. And yeah, I went on a journey. I sort of stood in a field one day with my dog thinking, I can't live like this. I thought I'm either going to go into a mental institute with a straitjacket, or this is going to kill me because I can't imagine this getting any worse, because I think death would have been easier than dealing with what I'm dealing with now. And I've never been suicidal, but I just thought, what is this life? And I thought, I stood there, I know the exact point, I stood there with my little dog and thought, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to find out what it is, and I'm going to learn as much as I can about this to be able to recover. So I went on a journey. I went to the doctors and I said, look, some of you guys are going to understand this and hear this feeling. I said to the doctor, this is going to sound weird and very embarrassing, but I don't feel like I'm here. I feel like I'm slightly behind myself. I feel slightly dizzy. I feel like everything's too loud when the dog barks, blah, blah, blah. And he said, that's anxiety. Take these tablets, bye-bye. Within seconds, I was diagnosed, and I left the doctors thinking, yes, I'm not broken, I can recover. And me and my wife looked at these tablets and thought, these are antidepressants. And we thought, right, I don't have this issue due to lack of this tablet. Now, a lot of my family on antidepressants, I grew up around them, I've never taken them. But I thought, right, I gave them back to the doctors, and then my journey started. I'm going to get knowledge on this. I went on TikTok. Let's do a show of hands who went on TikTok and found the God. There we go. Powerful. So I went on TikTok. I followed a couple of accounts. I think Magnus was the second or third person. And I just loved his videos. I'd like to say I'm quite a simple man, and I like simple content. And Magnus has just worked for me. It was just precise, direct, and I just really resonated with him. I got in touch. I said, I need you today. I need your help ASAP. And we went on this beautiful journey, the scariest journey of my life, especially with exposures, but I put 100% trust in this man, and I just said to him, he gave my life back to me. And it's been highs and lows, but the best thing that's ever happened to me, because now I just feel like, we were talking about earlier, I just feel like my life is a million times better. But yeah, it was, some days I was flying, then some days I felt like I had 4 steps back, but I just knew, I thought myself, right, I'm not going to recover, but I just thought, right, I'm going to trust this man. This man's been through it, he understands it, and he said, Will, just keep chipping away. And I managed to obviously get out my bedroom, I managed to get in traffic, I managed to get to the train station, not get on the train, because that was the hardest thing, but I went near a train physically. I managed to eventually sit on the train, but I'd run off, and embarrassed as well. I'm over 6'2", big, strong man, and I'm running off a train when there's little kids sitting there having a giggle, and it was just so embarrassing for me. But eventually, I got to this stage, and this is where it changed. And I thought, right, whatever's going to happen to me, I'm going to let it happen. If I have to die, because I always suffered with the breathing issues, I thought, right, if I don't have to breathe here, I accept, I'm not going to breathe. And that is when it all changed. So I sat on the train and just thought, okay, if I have to die here, I'm willing to die. And it's so extreme and so extra that was what helped me in the recovery. And the train moved. It was a 5-minute stop, nothing major. And I had tears running down my eyes. I was trying to hide it with sunglasses. And I just sat there and thought, there is definitely success at the end of this tunnel. There's light at the end of this tunnel. And I couldn't wait to tell Magnus and the homies in my group. Mike was in my group, Chris and Sarah and stuff. And I couldn't wait to tell the gang, look what I've done. And now I thought, where can I go with this? I'm going to long story short it. I didn't stop. Every day I went to the train station. I went and flew a small plane. That was terrifying. It was so small, I didn't really fit. And then up to a couple of months ago, I jumped on a fear of flying course. So it was a big commercial plane with 300 anxious people, and a lot of people ran off screaming. And I sat there in this seat and thought, Again, I'm willing to not breathe. I don't need air. I'm happy to not have air. I'm happy to have these feelings. I accept these feelings in my stomach, my throat. And if I have to die in this moment, I allow myself to die in this moment. I don't care. I let go. And I flew in the air, and it was success. Everyone cheered, cried, and it wasn't actually as hard as I made out previously. So that's my story. I'm here to help motivate you guys, support you guys, and share the knowledge that Magnus has taught me. I have created a small blueprint. Magnus has kindly named it the Will Humphrey Blueprint, which is my name, and to sort of simplify a 5-step course of how I structured my recovery. And yeah, I'm here just to support and carry on sharing the knowledge. But yeah, thank you for listening. I'm Will Humphrey, and I am anxiety disorder free. Thank you. Thank you. Is that all right? Yeah. Thank you. I've got a few questions though. Go on, yeah, let's do questions. This man saved my life. This guy's amazing, right? I mean, Q&A. Wow, didn't expect this.
Yeah. No, I think it's valuable because you've been on this journey,
yeah,
and everything's so recent. It's all happened in the last it's all happened in the last 10 months, you know.
Yeah.
I've got a question for your wife, if that's okay, first of all. What's it been like witnessing Will's struggles? Like, first of all, what was that like? And how did it make you feel to see him in that place?
Well, we've been together about 11 years now, so and he's flown all around the world with me, and he's never experienced this before. So really, it just came out of the blue about 3 years ago, and it actually got worse and worse to the point where he couldn't even go in a car or go in a lift, or we couldn't do anything together, even go on a walk. Because I'm quite spontaneous, and so we're polar opposites. I like to spice up the walk, but Will would need a particular route, basically. Yeah. So it was quite intense, especially for understanding, because I haven't gone through it, and to see him change so drastically and go downhill, it was difficult. But I would support him regardless, always. But yeah, it was an interesting, upsetting time for him to see him so distressed. But yeah, he's overcome it a lot now, so it's good. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you one more question. What's it like now, seeing Will going on a plane, going on trains, going in the car, actually living life, enjoying his summer? What's that like, seeing that?
Yeah, it's great. Really, really good. It's completely changed since he's been speaking to you, because I booked him hypnosis. I made him jump out of a plane. He tried therapy. I booked everything I could possibly see on Google, and then he found you. And so it's since speaking to you and the group as well, as he talks about everyone all the time. I know you and have never seen you before. But yeah, no, I'm really proud of him. And also it's helped our relationship. It didn't affect our relationship, but it affects your partner. I'm not going through it, but I am. I'm feeling his emotions. I'm having to drive more. I'm having to choose the routes of where we walk and tell him in advance. I had to fly on holiday on my own. So it did affect us, but not so much anymore. Yeah.
You're proud of him?
Yeah, for sure. He knows that. For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
I've got some questions for you as well, Will. You've obviously got the Will Humphrey Blueprint. You know, I'm not going to make you go through all 5 of them now.
Yeah.
But for you, all right, fine. What would you say for the, you know, if you were to sum up in maybe, I don't know, a few minutes, what's the Will Humphrey Blueprint, and what's the most important factors that people take away?
Okay, so key stages.
Key stages.
Okay, so for me, I was always aware of how I felt. And I remember it was probably a year ago now, I was at my worst, and it's coming up to bonfire night, and the fireworks made me feel like I wanted to hide under the couch. I was so sensitive, my ears were just, I would struggle to be in loud rooms, I would struggle to go in the supermarkets. It was wild, and I thought, right, I know I'm going to have to do exposures, which is going to the train station, which petrified me. How can I go there and be brave if I feel like I can't even stand up straight? in a weird way. I felt like I was always like this, jittery all over the place. So I thought, right, number one, let's deal with the nervous system. So I dialed in. I went through all Magnus's content and thought, right, I am going to haven, sigh, I'm going to do all the regulation I can. And before you know it, I started to feel a little bit better. And when I got that little inkling of feeling better, I thought, right, this, I'm not going to swear, this stuff works. This works. So that got me on a roll. Another key thing at the beginning, because I used to smoke a lot of vape, that was no good for my nervous system. I promise you, I gave it up and it changed. I felt calmer. My nervous system started calming down. The other thing was Red Bull. I was a Red Bull addict. Magnus said,
What was the first thing he said on the
he said, it's got to go. And I was like, no, I don't do drugs. I don't really drink. But since...
well sipping it on the first course.
Yeah. I'd wake up in bed at 7 in the morning. I'd have a Red Bull straight away and a vape. And he said, that's got to go. My wife's I've been on 3 Red Bulls a day since I was 14. I'm 34 now. Wifey's been telling me for the last 11 years, give that shit up. Excuse my French. And obviously you don't listen to your spouse. I listened to Magnus. And so I gave up the vape, the Red Bull, started regulating. And before you knew it, I felt like I was back in the room. The desensitization, all the DPDR stuff, I felt like that started calming down. So then I was able to move on to phase 2, which is speaking the words. I've got to remember this. I could do it written down.
I will be anxiety sort of.
Yeah, that's it. So I would thought, right, I'm driving everywhere going, and that does relax me now. And I do that constantly. Bearing in mind I was petrified at this stage, bearing in mind I didn't know if this works, but I thought I'm going to give it my all. So I was sighing, havening, driving round, very locally, mind you. I couldn't drive far, but I felt like that could get me out of the car. But then I started saying the words, I will be anxiety-free this year. Did I believe it? I have no idea. Was I petrified? Yes, I was so scared, but I thought, let's give this a go. I would say the words constantly, I will be anxiety-free this year. And it felt freeing. I felt like I'm on a bit of a journey now. I've got someone that knows what they're doing to back me, and whatever I do in life, I give 110%. So I thought, I'm going to give this my all, because why wouldn't I? What else am I going to do? Stick to the Red Bull, the vaping, and avoiding lifts and not living a life. And that wasn't an option ever for me. So then I would also, when I'd see myself in the mirror, I'd always knuckle touch the mirror and look me in the eyes, and I'd really believe it, and I'd say, you've got this. You're anxiety-free this year. So that was sort of phase 2. Now, phase 3 was exposures. I thought, right, I'm equipped now. My nervous system's in a good spot. I'm working on my vagus nerve, and I feel like I'm a little bit brave because I've felt a bit of success. So I would get in the car, havening, sighing, and saying the words. I'd say it constantly. I'd probably drive my missus mad. I'm going to be anxiety-free. This is all I do. I wouldn't talk. I would just say, I'm going to be anxiety-free this year. I'm an anxious-free person. I'm going to be anxiety-free this year, heading towards the train station. Sweaty palms, petrified. But that was phase 3, was the exposures. Getting out of my comfort zone. What scares me, because I now need to walk towards it. And that's why I say, you guys in this process are the bravest people I've ever met in my whole entire life, because I know how brave I had to be, and I was petrified. And as, again, a big, strong man, nothing really scared me in life apart from this. 10 out of 10 fear. But that was number 3, was the exposures, getting out there, getting in the mix, while still remembering to haven and do your regulation and speaking the words. Number 4, acceptance. Number 4 is acceptance. Is it?
Allowance acceptance.
Yeah, it's that's right. Yeah. So bearing in mind at this stage, I would be on the train, feeling very anxious, but almost we were white knuckling it, wasn't I? I was just being very brave, but so scared. I was sweating. The 4th stage was really dialing in, and all what I've spoke about before is external, looking outwards. Number 4 was about looking inwards. So I would find where I feel it, and that was my stomach and my throat. And I'd be on the train, and I would literally sit there quiet as a mouse. I felt like a right weirdo, by the way, guys, and I was embarrassed of people around me, but that's just me being vulnerable, admitting to that. I would sit there on the train, and I'd think, where do you feel it, Will? And I'd think, right, I feel it in my stomach. And I'd go, right, I know you're there, anxiety, and you're in my stomach. I can feel it in my throat, and I welcome you to stay. I'm not going to push you away. I understand why you're here. It makes sense you're here because you've had panic attack on trains and planes. So I feel enclosed, and I completely understand why you're here, and I accept it. I welcome you to stay as long as you want, and I thank you for trying to keep me safe. So that is dialing in acceptance. And acceptance for me is the key point of when the anxiety disorder, I believe, started to really fade out of my life. Because Instead of pushing it away, I welcomed it, which reduced the anxiety like this. So if I ever get any anxious feelings now, I welcome them and say, look, stay, bring me more. And I got to the stage with Magnus and I said, look, Magnus, I'm so scared of having a panic attack because the train stopped at one point and I thought, I'm a goner here, I'm going to jump through the window. I said to Magnus, I'm so scared of having a panic attack, what do? He said, have a panic attack. And I was like, what do you mean have one? He said, bring it on, welcome him. Try and have that if you want to have that. So then I would get extra brave and say, right, I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack. Let's have it. I want a panic attack. Bring it on. I'm not scared anymore. You can't kill me. Bring it on. Then before you know, the anxiety just started to disappear. And if, like I said now, if I can have a panic attack in front of you guys right now, I'd love it because it won't come. I wish it did so I could show you how to regulate out of it. But I'm not scared of it anymore. I don't fear that. I used to be petrified. This would be really hard work for me previously, but I don't care anymore. I'm not scared of it. If it comes, I can deal with it. And that's number 4. And number 5 is associating as someone that doesn't suffer from an anxiety disorder. So I'd always have friends that would, I felt very, oh, this is the government thing, isn't it? Yeah. Give it a minute. I should carry on.
Yeah, give it a minute, yeah.
I think it's 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
I was thinking that was hard
I mean, that could give you anxiety on its own, couldn't it? That's a bit trippy.
Yeah, so the government are taking over, so Vegas now.
Okay, so where was I? I was at the last stage, which was number 5. I will just really quickly recap the 5 as well, just to refresh you. But number 5 for me is my experience. I'd see my friends and they'd literally come up to me and goes, how's that little anxiety problem you've got? And it really was tough to deal with because people call it a little situation or a problem that I'm dealing with. People would say, I'm so lucky I don't suffer from mental health like you. People said that to my face. And I would straight away, even though I know I'm at the end of this recovery journey, I would say, oh, it's all dealt with. I don't suffer from any anxiety. It's all done. So I would associate myself and label myself as someone that doesn't have any anxiety problems at all. So that's the 5. So I'll just quickly run through them very quick. Number 1 is regulation. Number 2, speak the words out. Number 3, get out there physically. Get brave. Number 4, look inwards, acceptance. And number 5, we don't have anxiety disorders.
That's it, man.
That's the blueprint. Thank you. Thank you.
I do want to say as well about the identity thing, the last point. I didn't know that was part of the blueprint, but yeah, now it rings a bell. But it's so important for you guys to not identify as someone with an anxiety disorder, because too many people, they make it their whole identity. It's like, I have an anxiety disorder. I own it. It's mine. Yeah. And what they do is they then associate those feelings as who they are when then those feelings aren't who they are. But if you make it part of your personality, then you're always going to be feeding it and focusing on it and fearing it. So what Will said there is so crucial. It's even if you are scared of the fear, even if you are dealing with a dysregulated nervous system, start saying out loud, I will be anxiety disorder free, but say, no, I don't have an anxiety problem. I like anxiety can come up, it's fine. Because that's how you manifest anything. You act as if it's already true. And if you act as if it's already true, it becomes true. And that's what I did. To be honest, I did the same thing, but it was partly because I was so ashamed of it. Yeah. But it actually helped me in a way. But yeah, no, I just said to people, oh no, I don't struggle anymore. And that helped me become the person who didn't struggle. Yeah. So that's a really good point. But honestly, Will, super proud of you, man.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Super proud of you, man. Thank you. Well done.